Hello and welcome everybody to another stream. We are back. Sorry that I've been out of contention for the last week. I got sick, so I had to take it easy for a minute. However, we are back and we're gonna be finishing up this series on the decks that top 8 at MTG Vegas. It feels like Vegas happened like a year ago at this point, but today we're gonna be playing the actual winning deck from the event, which is a Red Black Lurrus. This deck, of course, a brew by Aspiring Spike that probably, I think this was one of the first brews that he put together after when Modern Horizons 2 became legal. And of course, this is a Ragavan DRC mid-range deck. So we have a bunch of discard spells with Thoughtseize and Inquisition, lots of hand disruption with also Kroxa, and one of the probably best cards that have risen to popularity in the past weeks or couple of weeks really at this point. Tourach the Red Cantor. This is a card that when everybody looked at this, it felt kind of medium, maybe a little bit too slow, maybe just not good enough. But it turns out that this little line right here, protection from white, turns this card into an absolute powerhouse, particularly when everybody is moving from red removal and like lightning bolts and unholy hits towards white removal in solitudes and prismatic endings. So when that is what you're expecting to see, Tourach all of a sudden becomes an absolute powerhouse. And we see this deck playing 3 copies of Tourach, and not only that, but this being just like a fantastic shell for the card because of all of the discard spells that you get to play, Kroxa, Call Against Command. All of these actually pump your Tourach and turn it into an absolute beater. We're also playing multiple copies of Thoughtseize Voidwalker, 2 in the main deck and even 2 more in the sideboard. This card is absolutely fantastic in a variety of matchups, obviously against any graveyard strategy, and also against decks like Amulet and any kind of Titan deck where you can go turn 2 Thoughtseize Voidwalker into turn 3 Thoughtseize can be an absolute beating because you're taking your opponent's Titan and then you're casting it against them, which is a big deal. As expected, obviously, we're playing a bunch of good cards. Call Against Command, get your 2-for-1 right here. We're also playing Terminate, Lightning Bolt, and 4 copies of Unholy Heat as removal. Very interesting to see 2 copies of Bolt and 2 copies of Terminate before stuff like Fatal Push, and Bolt not being a 4-off anymore is a big deal. The reason we're playing Terminate, obviously, is because of Murktide and Hammer threats, right? Rounding up things, we got Mistress Bubble, which obviously combos outstandingly well with Lurrus of the Dream Den. So not only does that, but it also combos with DRC, allowing you to fix your draws, and also getting Delirium, helping you get Delirium to attack with 4/3 with DRC. A big thing for this deck is the Den of the Bugbear. This is a card that kind of out of nowhere started to become sort of a staple in the archetype, not only in the archetype, in Modern as a format, really. This card is very innocuously powerful, and this is like what Raging Ravine wishes that it could do nowadays. Like back in the day, that was the strategy, right? Like you're like trading resources, you're trading 1-for-1, and then all at the end of when all the dust settles, your Raging Ravine was the one that was able to take it home in the John matchup, right? Now we have access to Den of the Bugbear, which allows you to have significantly better mana. So 3 copies of Graven Cairns. Again, we really want to make sure that we can cast and kick this Tourach. So with 3 copies of Den of the Bugbear, that can be difficult, but Graven Cairns comes into play and saves the day. The other 2 ones are Shinka, the Blood-Soaked Keep, and Shiso, Death's Storehouse. These cards are both fantastic, both with Monkey, by making it unblockable, by giving it Fear, which is pretty solid, or allowing it to not trade and to have profitable attacks with Shinka. And we have both Ragavan and Tourach and Kroxa and Lurrus all as legendary creatures. So turns out that both of these random Kamigawa lands end up being absolutely stellar in this deck specifically. The sideboard, as I was saying, includes a couple of Thoughtseize Voidwalkers, Thoughtseize as the last piece of removal against the control decks, against the the combo decks. Alpine Moon against Urza Saga, a Shattering Spree against Constructs and stuff like that. Another copy of Terminate that we can bring against Murktide and big threats like Hammer. 3 copies of Engineered Explosives. Like, this card is absolutely fantastic when you're looping it every single turn with Lurrus, and this card is very good at dealing with Rhinos, dealing with Hammer threats, etc. 2 copies of Pirate Spellbomb. This one may come in a little bit weird, but this is in order to answer Sanctifier and Vec and cards of that sort, like any card that has protection from red and for black, and Sanctifier in particular is an absolute beating for this deck. So having access to Pirate Spellbomb, it can be very, very strong. We can also recur the Spellbomb with Lurrus. And finally, 1 copy of Chalice of the Void against all of the Cascade strategies. This is the deck that we're going to be starting today's stream with, so hopefully things go well for us. If you're enjoying the content as usual, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you for round number 1. Alright, round number 1. Yeah, this is what we're signing up for. Discard and removal spells. Let's go. Let's go. What is this? We're playing against the 16... Is this... What? My opponent's playing 80... It's not 80 cards. I'm so bad at counting right now. So it's like 68 plus 1 plus 2 is like 75 cards. Did they just submit the main deck into the sideboard into the main deck or something? Ah, gracias, Ramsey. Me alegra que te guste. We probably have to take one of these DRCs. Please play the Torpor Orb. Please play that Torpor Orb. Do it. Do it. Please play that Torpor Orb. Yeah, I think my opponent may have submitted their sideboard into their main deck. Oh, come on. Really? Come on, man. So I guess that for game number 2, we're actually going to be playing... My opponent's going to sideboard the bad cards out, and they're actually going to be left with the cards that they want to play, which is pretty funny. So, like, after game 2, we're just going to have, like, a normal match. Pretty hilarious. So I don't want to play the Croxa, right? I just want to pass the turn. This is the biggest update series. Yeah, we're finishing things up. A little bit delayed, but... So I'm gonna bubble myself, and I don't know if I want to keep the card or not, so... Jeez. Okay. Nothing but gas for opponent. And the reason I didn't Thoughtseize the Unholy Heat is that... I don't know if I want to, because I would be making my opponent's Channeler into a 3/3. So take 1. Nice run with Budget Amulet. Thank you, Kimpachi. Yeah. It was fun. It was really, really fun to be able to... yeah, we want to draw that one. It was really, really fun to be able to go back to just playing the classic, you know? Just playing with the cards that I love. Am I supposed to hit or am I supposed to bolt? I think I'm supposed to bolt. So we're just getting a basic swamp here. So, red, black. Yeah, I think I'm supposed to bolt. Although I guess my opponent's gonna have main deck hate. So now the Torpor is gonna give them Delirium. So they're gonna have access to what's his name, right? To the 2/2 guy. Oh, they're playing Saga? Excuse me, what? The Amulet in a budget video. Don't let anybody tell you that Modern is a pay-to-win format. Yep. Yeah, my opponent wanted to put Lurrus in their deck, in their hand, but they can't. Because it's not a companion. That's funny. That's very, very funny. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put Lurrus in my hand here. And the reason I'm doing this, I know that I could play Kroxa, but the reason I'm doing this is my opponent has 3 mana. So now they have the Saga, and if they want to, never mind. Okay, so I was gonna say, if they want to hit my Kroxa, they can't activate the Saga. Obviously this backfired because, ooh, that's a good draw. Well, super rewarded, I guess. So that's gone. Here comes the Dream Den. And here comes Bubble. And I'm going to upkeep because they don't have any mana. So we're going to see what they draw. So they make a token. They want to see what they draw? Or do I want to see what they... I think I'm probably going to see what they draw. So I'm just going to just crack Bubble on end step. Because like whatever they draw, they're probably just going to play. In before Biting Needle on Bubble. It's a good point. That's a good point. Sure. Yeah, there you go. Alright, should have attacked first. So now we're just gonna, they're gonna draw Thoughtseize. Okay, so now we're gonna Kroxa. Urbor. Black red. Kroxa, wanna exile Inquisition, Thoughtseize, land, hit, bolt. Just making sure we still have Delirium. Opponent takes 3, we got a 6/6. Do you shuffle or do you not shuffle, opponent? What do you do? They do it shuffle. So they're just playing red-black, but with Sagas, I assume, over the Dream Den, the Den of the Bugbear. They pack it in. Alright, so for games 2 and 3, we're gonna have like real matches, you know? We're just gonna be playing against... it's gonna be actual, you know, real games. As opposed to my opponent having a very suboptimal deck list. So opponent is playing Sagas. So am I interested in any of this? I think I'm interested in this. And I think I am not interested in monkeys. Is it possible that I'm not interested in monkeys? Particularly on the draw. I think it's going to be extremely hard to connect with a monkey, and being on the draw makes it that so I don't want to. I don't think I want Alpine Moon just for Sagas. I don't think my opponent's playing Jund. I think they're just playing red-black. Because they had three blood crypts. So I think I want to sideboard like this. Shattering Spree is interesting, but like this is basically a Genuine Explosives with the worst, because I can't kill like monkeys and stuff with Shattering Spree. Yeah, so now we're just, my opponent's going to be just playing a normal deck. This hand is pretty good. Let's keep this hand. This is pretty good. And you want to keep good hands against the decks. Moves to 6. Got me. I assume they're going to take the DRC. Yep. So I think I'm going to bubble now, because if I find something that I want, I'm going to play Blackblade Cliff so I have interaction if my opponent has a monkey or something. So I know that this exposes me to Tourach. Yeah, I would like to draw Tourach. I know that this exposes me to my opponent having another Inquisition or Thoughtseize, but I would imagine that they have cut some number of Thoughtseizes for game number 2. And again, like I think that it's important to me to make sure that I am getting, you know, most value. Then play Croxa. Next turn, I think we're gonna put Lurrus in hand. And following turn, we're just gonna kick a Tourach. Opponent doesn't know about either one of these two cards. Okay. It's not a great draw. I think I want to fetch here, and the reason for that is so I can feed the Croxa. Inquisition. Okay, so now they're going to Inquisition the Lurrus, but we still have Tourach. So Tourach is going to be like a guaranteed 2, at least a 2-for-1, maybe a 3-for-1. So honestly, I would not be surprised if they take Tourach instead of Lurrus here, actually. I think there's a very real... Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, there's a very real... Yeah. Like, that should tell you. Like, my opponent could have taken the Lurrus, and instead they took a Tourach. That should tell you how good this card is. I could exile everything and get back Croxa here. My opponent has Terminate, but then we get a 2-for-1. But then I don't have any way to take advantage of the Lurrus. I guess I can just play Lurrus and replay the Croxa. Is that good enough? Because, like, I would really like to replay that. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think that we have to make sure that we keep on the pressure. So, black, black, red, red. I really would like to Lurrus plus DRC, but my opponent doesn't have Delirium, so at least as is, it's not going to be as easy for them to get rid of this Croxa. And they can just, you know, like shock with Unholy Heat the Lurrus. So I'm just like, you know, clearing the way. Like, this is still a very clean 2-for-1 for us. And next turn we can go Lurrus plus replay Croxa and empty my opponent's hand. Still, they have no way of getting value from Lurrus. So they do have Lurrus in hand, but nothing to do with it. It's a monkey. That is indeed a monkey. Hopefully they whiff here. That's a whiff. Awesome. And the fact that they dash the monkey means that it's pretty good. That's really, really good. So now what I can do is I can look at what they draw. They draw in a K command. Sheesh, that's a lot. So play then. Play Lurrus. Replay Bubble. We're probably going to hold on to this one. That color schema is going to be really good though. We do get to draw a card here, DRC, okay. I'm probably going to save this and Holy Heat so I can get extra value from this DRC. Unless my opponent dashes a monkey, which I'm pretty sure they're not going to. Yeah, we got very lucky on that monkey. Like the fact that it exiled like an irrelevant Bloodstained Mire instead of a real card. Yeah, so here's the K command. They're probably going to shock plus discard. Yep. Shock plus discard. I wonder if they're going to play the monkey. Actually, now that I think about it, we have 2 dens. So it's probably better. Yeah, so if they play the monkey, I think I'm just going to shock it. Opponent's missing land drop. Let's see what you draw. Bloodstained Mire. That's good for me. Because I can attack with then... Nah, it's probably better for me to just... DRC plus Heat plus Croxa. That's probably just better. That's... Yep, those are some pretty good top decks. Bubble. Put that into the graveyard. Heat. Yep, keep that one on top. That was one of the few ones that I was actually going to keep on top there, I think. And now I think we leave the Lurrus. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This means that we are out of 3 bubbles, but that's just fine. But obviously putting Croxa into play here is just fantastic, right? Black, black, red, red. Leave Lurrus in the bin, because we know we're drawing Colligan's command. So if they discard the Lurrus, they discard Colligan's command. Okay. So they're drawing a land, so they're going to be able to Lurrus into Monkey, but it's not going to matter because we have Heat and Colligan's command. So I think this game is just over. Pretty nice to win the mirror on the draw. Pretty nice to win the mirror on the draw. So... pretty good. It's a pretty good draw. Lurrus gone forever. Lurrus is officially gone forever. You love to see it. All right, see you for the next round. All right, opponent doesn't reveal companion, and I'm obviously going to keep this hand, which is pretty fantastic. Do I want to Thoughtseize on 1 or Inquisition? I think I want Inquisition on 1, but I could get punished by doing that. It's probably okay. Opponent moves to 4. Well. Nice ephemerate. My opponent says, why aren't you playing Amulet? Why can't I play decks that are not Amulet? And this is what my opponent gets for not only putting me in a box, but also, and even worse, for not watching the stream. This is what they get. Okay. This just in from promotes stream sniping. That's the way to put it. Well, it's time for this bad boy to make an appearance. Pro white, baby. Let's go. Okay, so I don't think that we want something like Shattering Spree. I don't think this is gonna be good enough. Opponent's playing like they're playing like the cheese deck, which I think it's pretty bad. They could be playing Sanctifier. They could be playing Sanctifier. I guess this also kills both Griefemerate and Stoneforge Mystic, so this seems like a safe addition. Do we want Monkey? Do we want Voidwalker? We definitely want Tourach. This is like a fantastic matchup for Tourach. I don't think we want Shattering Spree, because they're just gonna go with Kaldra, right? Though, to be fair, I can't really answer Kaldra effectively. We just cut Terminates. Because all my removal already answers. I think that this is fine. Yeah, I guess we keep this. Sure. I don't know, man. Like, this deck is just so bad. Am I wrong for thinking that this deck is just awful? It's just so clunky. It's so freaking clunky. So I think I want to shock them now. While they can't ephemerate. But I mean, look at what just happened. Like, my opponent is down to 3 cards because they just... Nice. Oh my god, it's so bad. It's so bad. Oh man. The last card in hand is a Grief. I mean, we're gonna do this thing, right? We're gonna do this thing where we play Croxa. And I think I'm gonna leave this spell bomb in there because I can start looping it with Lurrus. Undying Evil. Imagine you're playing a mid-range deck and you top deck Undying Evil. You're playing a discard spell deck that wants to get into a top deck war, and my deck is top decking just like Croxus, and your deck is top decking Undying Evil. I don't know. I think that we're built differently here. See you for the next round. Alright. Sand looks pretty good. Keep. So I think I'm going to lead on Bubble, and I'm going to bubble my opponent because I think that I can probably figure out what they're playing, or at least have an idea of what they're playing. And that can inform my decision as to whether I want to Inquisition or one, or whether I want a Monkey. Well, Basic Island doesn't really help me, but I think it's enough for me to want to play the Monkey. Because I know it's going to be some sort of like counterspell deck, so I can get under the counterspells with the Monkey. ¿Crees que un Cultivator con 3 Karn corren bien el ámbito y debes elegir Cultivator o Karn? No sé, la verdad que no probé los dos todavía. Puede ser que esté bien, puede ser que no esté bien, la verdad que no sé. So, Inquisition? Leader on Inquisition, so if my opponent has a removal spell, I need to act now, and I can just deploy the second. Otherworldly Gaze. So, just taking Snapcaster here. I could take Fire and Ice, but just kind of doesn't matter, right? Because like they're trading 2 mana to kill my Monkey. We exile the Steam Vents. So this is their hand. Do I want to save the Inquisition? I could just take the Prismari command. I think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm just gonna take the Prismari command because I'm gonna be using. I can kick a Tourach next turn if I find a land. So I just want to make sure that I get rid of the cards that do stuff. So Prismari command's gone. Now you can do your thing. Oops, I clicked one thing too many. Don't know what. Oh, the Fire and Ice. Just gotta remember that they had a Fire and Ice. Imagine they're gonna Overworldly Gaze here or not. Play the Tarn. Sparble of Canal. Can we see a land here? Ding, ding, ding. Would like to attack you, opponent. You want to fire me? Boo-hoo. Dude, Tourach is such a beating. Tourach is so sick. I guess I should be sort of scared of Blood Moon. And this is why I hate the Monkey so much, right? This is why I hate the Monkey so much, and I think it's such a stupid card. Like, I just attacked with it on turn 1 once, and now all of a sudden, it's like I was able to ramp out a Tourach on turn 3. Like, it's just not fair. It's just not fair, you know? So they didn't draw the Sparble of Canal. Their upkeep Otherworldly Gaze. Okay, so they clearly are trying to turbo out a Murktide over there. And they put 2 cards on top. We do know about that land. I can call this command. It's kind of awkward. I think I'm just gonna dash monkey. I think we're gonna dash monkey this turn. This means that next turn I'm gonna have 4 mana and I'm gonna be able to K command plus actually just play the monkey. And now if they have bolt or an holy heat, sure they kill this, but we still have access to monkey and we still get a nice little hit with the monkey. They kill monkey instead. Okay. That means they take 4. Just not a joke. Okay. If this connects, we actually have access to lethal burn. Okay. So upkeep, we're just gonna make them discard a card and shock them. Discard a card, shock. Maybe they have a counter. Yeah, okay. For ya. Bolt ya. Is that good enough? Alright, cool. Blue Moon. Definitely won't terminate. Probably don't want bolts. None of these cards are good. None of these are good. I think just the Thoughtseize here. We have no answers whatsoever to Murktide, to Blood Moon. We just have a single basic swamp. I guess monkeys are answer to Blood Moon. Which is not where you want to be against the Unholy Heat Lightning Bolt deck, right? But it's kind of what we got. I think Heat being able to deal more damage and kill a Jace after it upticks, it's more relevant than Bolt being able to go face. Could be wrong about that, but I'm fairly sure that that's the case. Alright, we got a Tourach, but we have one of those weirdo hands where we don't have that much black mana. I'm still gonna keep, but I'm assuming my opponent doesn't have monkeys. And they're gonna shuffle whatever I bubble, so I think there's more value in. We do have the answer though. I think that's an easy Snapcaster there. And I have my land drops, so I think I'm saving the second bubble for in case I find a DRC. Kept on top. Let's see what they are. They kept on top. They kept the bolt. Okay. Oh no, they didn't keep a bolt. They kept, they probably a counter spell, I assume. So now they can bolt the DRC. I guess they can also fire. Yeah, okay, whatever. That's fine. Bubble. To the bin. Bubble myself. Bloodstained Mire. Let's say no. Maybe I should have gotten a basic swamp there. I should have definitely gotten a basic swamp, right? Maybe I should have gotten a basic swamp there. Return this. You discard. Just trying to be mana efficient here. Just trying to be mana efficient here. You discard. M10. M10, yes, the same bolt. Interesting that they discarded the bolt. Nice. DRC. And DRC. I suspect that one of my opponent's unknown cards is either Counterspell or Archmage's Charm. Now the question is, do I play the Swamp or do I play the Then? I think I played it Then. I'm just gonna play the Swamp actually. Because next turn we can still kick Tourach, and this allows me to terminate their thing on end step. They're murky. It's also better if they find Blood Moon. They're gonna have to deal with this somehow. One bolt, it's fine. If they have Counterspell, that's gonna be a problem. Because they can Murktide plus Counterspell. Not a bad draw. Not a bad draw at all. It's bottom. They did not play the Steam Vents also. Why would you not play the Steam Vents there? Oh, because they don't have a Steam Vents. That answers the question. I think I have to take the Counterspell. And now my opponent has only one play, which is to play Murktide. And then I get to terminate the Murktide on their end step. And then I untap on Tourach. What's up, Torborg? How's it going? Doing well. Feeling a lot better. It's pretty, like it's pretty obvious that I got something. Because I could have put Lurrus into my hand. So my opponents, I imagine they're going to do something with that information. But maybe they can't. Like, I would not be surprised if they are just forced into... just like jamming the Murktide anyway. Doing well myself. I'm going to do something I shouldn't this weekend and consider jamming and doing ADL in the challenge. Yikes. Well, I mean, best of luck. I'm gonna be rooting for you, but yikes. Definitely gonna be rooting for you. Always root for the underdog. Did my opponent find a counter spell there? I think this is the way that I play around the counter spell. Because next turn I can Tourach kicked plus terminate. They did find a counter spell. Left the card on top. Gross. Gross. Do they have enough to double Murktide? They have enough to double Murktide. Well, we're dead now. We're definitely dead now. I guess it was better for me to jump the Tourach there, huh? Alright. Well played from my opponent. I guess I'm not dead. I can just draw another Terminate. And honestly, just be fine. So if I find another Terminate, we're kind of looking fine. That's not the one, though. Alright. Well played, opponent. They navigated very well. And it changes... Is Dothy secretly just fine? I'm starting to suspect that they just cyborged out their Jaces. Maybe I'm just getting debated, but let's be a little bit more proactive this time around. I tried to maximize on Tourach and didn't quite work out. My opponent top deck really well though, right? They top deck really well and they knew what to do with the cards that they were dealt. I feel like many other players would have just like jumped that Murktide in a couple of different spots where my opponent just was patient and they passed the turn and they were able to really find a spot where it was kind of overwhelming. But yeah, like they top decked Archmage's Charm. Like I knew most of their cards and their top decks were Counterspell, Archmage's Charm, Archmage's Charm. So their draws were pretty solid. What are the natural predators to this Rakdos deck? My thoughts are Burn, Dredge, Tron, and I'm thinking there might be an uptick of each this coming weekend, seeing how will jam Rakdos Rix's War this past weekend. Well, I think this deck is not very good compared to the other options. But I think that this deck is fine, but it's definitely overplayed. I will definitely agree that it's overplayed. But I would be like a lot more scared about the shadow decks. Maybe just a one Vegas everyone tried it. Yeah, 100%. And this style of deck is very often overplayed, right? This style of deck is very often just not very good, but people really overhype it because it's an enjoyable archetype, you know. It's an enjoyable. It's fun to play this style of deck. I do like it a lot personally too. It's just an archetype that it's. I'm gonna keep this hand. I think oh man, this den is so awkward. I'm gonna go turn one Cliffs into Monkey, I think. and then I can go Inquisition in Dothy into Inquisition on turn 2. But yeah, people really enjoy this kind of archetype, and as such, it is overrepresented, and it tends to underperform. But this deck has some pretty big weaknesses. Like, for example, I don't think this deck's matchup against what's his name is very good. I don't think this deck's matchup against Hammer is all that great. Like, it's fine, but I don't think it's outstanding or anything like that, because you kind of struggle with a bunch of angles of attack that the Hammer deck has, and Sanctifier is a real problem. Yeah, the deck is super interactive. That's what the deck does, right? That's why people like it, because it always kind of feels like you have a say. It always kind of feels like you have a say in the outcome of the match, which sometimes is just not true, right? But it has that kind of feel. Opponent moves to 6. I still think I want to jump Monkey on 1. I could be going Inquisition into... that's bad for me. We're obviously going to attack first. We're going to force the Lightning Bolt out of their hand, probably. Lightning Bolt and Holy Heat, whatever it is. Boom! Dead, gone! Well, that's not the one that I was expecting, I'll tell you that much. Okay, so we're gonna take this Snapcaster. Because we can't get rid of the Fire Ice. So I think we're gonna take the Snapcaster. Man, our hand is just pure black. And then next turn, I think I'm gonna go Dothy into Inquisition the Charm. We have our swamp. So this is gonna be just fine. It's just gonna force the fire out of my opponent's hand. And then we take the charm. Basic Highland opponent setting up that Blood Moon. Really scary. Ugh. I'm probably still going for the charm. We're just gonna have to push through that relic. Gonna try to force the issue a little bit here by putting Lurrus in hand as opposed to playing the Dothy there. Opponent discards a card. There is an argument for playing Dothy there to prevent the gaze from going into the graveyard, but like my opponent's just gonna gaze in response, so it just doesn't matter. Still in the same spot. Heathen King 666 with Hero 1 sub, coming back for 6 months. Thank you so much for that, Heathen King. We'll come back to the Primetime Stronghold. Hope everything's going well for you. So is my opponent putting a card on top or not? That's what matters. They can't crack Relic because then they exile their own thing. They did put a card on top. I got my Inquisition. So now we get to be down a little bit. And next turn I'm going to jam the Lurrus, but... Did he drew Fire Ice? Another flashback, another Worldly Journey, I assume. Next turn we get to jam the Lurrus, but if my opponent counters, then we get to have access to a counter spell, which is nice. Okay. Oops, I really wanted to set that stop on upkeep. Well, I mean, here goes nothing, I guess. Did not replay the monkey. Did you top like a counterspell exactly on that very turn? Opponent didn't. Oh, I messed it up. I messed it up. Oh no. I had to crack after the relic resolved and before the Lurrus hit play. So now my opponent can just bowl the Lurrus. That was so bad. That was such a that was such a big mistake. And I thought about it too, which is the worst part. So I missed on drawing a card there. That was really bad. Sure. Well, then is your time to shine. Or I could Tourach. No, let's just Den. It's more mana intensive. They found the bolt. Yes, they did. Dude, my opponent's been drawing really fucking well. My opponent's been drawing really, really well. Pretty mind-blowing, really. So now Tourach's just going to be a 2-1. I don't want to lead on Inquisition, because otherwise, why am I even kicking the Tourach for? What I would like to draw is a call against command. Man, that card that I didn't draw is gonna... that's gonna bug me. Opponent went top too. Gross. Hey. Well, see what you drew, opponent. Crossing fingers. Crossing fingers. Opponent left a card on top, so I'm just hoping that that card that they left on top is not a counterspell. Huh. I'm hoping that it's going to be like a threat or an answer. So I'm just going to draw step, make them discard, and get back Lurrus. But I don't think that resolving the K command right now, that's too much for me. So I'm just hoping that they left the Murktide on top. They went top. Scary. Return a creature, you discard. Show me that counter spell. Show it to me. Ridiculous. Yikes. Yeah, Dan is not the absolute worst. That's true. Look at my opponent cycling Relic and then finding the Lightning Bolt off the top. Just wait for it. Just wait for it. The good thing is, like, Murktide is really bad for them. Like, these relics have been kind of hurting them. But my opponent has been very smart of, you know, not drawing the Murktide. Okay, so they're going for Otherworldly Gaze instead of cracking Relic. Which means that they then can start getting in there, which is nice. Why are they in Relic and not in Lantern? Because after they play a Murktide, they can use a Relic to grow the Murktide at will. So there's like a little bit of synergy there. But as you're seeing right now, if you're playing against the deck that kind of forces you to crack the Relic, then it's a little bit of a number. Also, this card is just... That's just way too many copies of this card. Like, this card is kind of not great. You got me. I think I want to do this, because now if they have Counterspell, I can just... Okay, they have Dottie. That's fine. Okay, but now I have more stuff in play that pressures my opponent. So I don't think I'm in a terrible spot here. My opponent may be far behind enough. Also, they have only 3 lands in play, but they may be far behind enough that they just need to crack this. Yep, there we go. One, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, now Murktide is just straight up awful for them. Then working overtime. Then doing so much work. Do you have an answer? Now's the time. They got pretty punished by playing this preemptively. Opponent says GG's. Good job, opponent. They played really well. Opponent played very, very well. Sweet. All right, 3-0. 3-0. That was a cool match. Very cool match. This kind of matches are pretty sweet. Yeah, I'm not sold on the Gazes either. I mean, I'm assuming that, you know, like Blue Moon players probably know more about this than I do. But this card, I don't know. Consider has looked good. I think Consider is great. But being down a card in order to get this effect, like it's okay at turboing out your Murktide, but like the card disadvantage is felt. Like the card disadvantage is definitely felt. Alright, see you next round. Alright, so this looks like a hand. Gonna keep it. Has a bunch of interaction. Cross fingers. Hope the interaction is good. I think I need to find a threat, so I'm gonna bubble my opponent here. Because I am, like 100% of the time, I'm going to be using Myron one. Alternatively, I could just pass the turn. I could go turn 1 Mire, bubble, say go. If my opponent plays something I can hit or bolt, I do that. If they don't, I untap next turn, I Thoughtseize. But then I'm forced to bolt in main phase. Yeah, I don't think that really works. I think it's a lot more mana efficient for me to Thoughtseize on 1. So I'm gonna go bubble, target my opponent. If they're playing burn, then I can fetch for a basic swamp. And I'm probably still going to Thoughtseize them. Do I have the baby room all set? Well, I'm currently in the baby room. Behind that green screen, there's a bunch of baby features. But you can see like a little bit of, you know, over there. You can see like a little, oh yeah, like a baby, little baby frame. But yeah, I still have to figure that part out, honestly. I don't know what's gonna happen with the whole streaming setup once this becomes the baby room. All right, let's see what's up. Gonna bubble them, as I was saying. See what they draw. Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. So Tron. That's a yikes. They also kept 7. That's also a yikes. Mine, Power Plant, Saga. And all of these cards are just dead for me. Yep. We kind of need to find a monkey, like, right now. That's not a monkey. It's like super not a monkey. Surprised it didn't go turn 1 Saga, honestly. They want to get value. Ugh, it's very bad. It's super, super bad. So next turn we can get like Bubble Saga going, I guess. Lurrus Bubble going, I mean. Yeah, unfortunately, this is what I got. Not too much that I can do about any of this. Am I supposed to hit here? I think I'm supposed to hit because it doesn't go face. Because my opponent's not interested in attacking with this with a construct. What's up, Common Sense? Thank you, appreciate it. Happy that you're liking it. All right. Opponent is cantripping away. So yeah, we said we're gonna do this. Let's do that. Karn liberated. And I think I'm just gonna double Kroxa here. Discard Saga. Here's hoping we dodge Ugin. Here's hoping we dodge Ugin. Here's hoping we dodge Wormcoil. That's fine. Expedition map is acceptable. Double expedition map is acceptable. Okay. So now we get to Kroxa from the graveyard plus hardcast Kroxa. And then we can potentially bolt my opponent out of the game. Or we can just kill them with K command plus lightning bolt. Hell yeah. Well, good thing that I bottomed that unholy heat, right? 2 damage, you discard a card. Discard a card, 2 damage. Whew! Kroxa OP. Kroxa confirmed busted. Let's go. That was exciting. It's pretty exciting. So Dolthy seems fantastic. Thoughtseize seems pretty solid. Probably cut terminates. Probably cut heat. Don't think we want any of this. Don't think we want any of this. Maybe Shattering Spree, but we have Colonel's Command. Shattering Spree is interesting for like construct tokens, or it's interesting for like, you know, if they are Karn Great Creator, but I think that this is fine. Cut a bolt. Shout out to Kroxa there. Maybe cut out the Tourach actually on the draw. My deck tech is just refer a cool band to listen to. Been on Thank You Scientist lately. Yeah. I've been on Thank You Scientist for like months at this point. Man, this hand is almost good, but it's not, so. This one is a little bit better. Let's keep it. Maybe I was supposed to bottom the bolt as opposed to the monkey. Because opponent could have some sort of removal spell, but I mean, if this monkey connects, we can turn 3 this Tourach, which is nice. Okay. All right, Shiso, let's go. Ursa's mine. Okay, pass the turn so we can bolt the Carnot end step. What's my evening beverage of choice? Lately, I've been enjoying I've actually been enjoying this pretty great. It's like a graph digger's cage. That seems like overboarding to me. It's like an eggnog drink, which is pretty good. Been enjoying it a lot. Don't think I care for casting that card. Do care for casting this one though. No, eggnog. It's like an eggnog liquor. Also, I really like eggnog, so both work. But in particular, I'm talking about an eggnog liquor that I've been enjoying. Got a couple of lands, which is not really where we want it to be, I don't think. Because now Ugin's gonna destroy us. Sounds heavy. No, actually, it's pretty light. I'm a big fan of eggnog. Really, really big fan of eggnog. Okay. Attack first, because maybe we can find a worm coil and that would be interesting. Karn? I mean, we're not doing this, right? We are not doing this, so. Ursa's Tower. So I think I kind of want to get a shock, because we have 5 power, 5 and now that I know that my opponent can't O-Stone me, I think I'm just gonna minus for just a silly pirate spell on here, and I can potentially bolt my opponent out of the game. And now black. I'm gonna try to maximize the amount of pressure that I can put onto my opponent. I literally don't care about the cage whatsoever. I could not care less about this card. It's doing literal nothing. Like, I don't know why my opponent brought it in. Karn Liberated. Yeah, this is a lot of stuff for Karn Liberated to take care of. And now I can bolt the Karn. Okay, so they exiled the Dothy. Okay. But now they're just dead. So attack them. We're gonna make a token, which I'm gonna Holy Heat. Take 6. Play this. Minus, and I'm gonna do this, you know, obviously for Flourish, right? Obviously gonna make the Flourish play, as opposed to just bolting them. Dude, we should play Karn in this deck. Why aren't we playing Karn in Red-Black Lurrus? I don't get it. Sweet, awesome. The good old, dude, again, turn 3 Tourach. Monkey ramping you into turn 3 Tourach is messed up. It's so messed up. This is not okay. Even in the matchups where the monkey is just not getting you anything. I mean, bad example because we actually got something pretty good to cast. But even in the matchups where you are not overall getting something pretty good to cast, like just the ramp and the fact that it gives you treasures is just so unnecessary. So unnecessary. Stupid monkey, man. See you next round. Alright, no lander, no keeper. Yes lander, yes keeper. Keep this and we're gonna bottom the overboard, I think. Opponent kept 7. No companion was shown. Ursa Saga. Amulet. Springleaf Drum. I was gonna say don't Esper Sentinel me, bro, but... So... I think I really want to kill this Ornithopter. So let's kill the Ornithopter. Because by killing the Ornithopter, I'm denying my opponent a construct token. I guess they could have another 0, but they didn't have it there, right? So I'm assuming that they do not have another 0. Channeling my inner Reduke tonight. Yeah, every now and then, that's just gotta do that, you know? Just channel your inner Reed. So we're just gonna go DRC Inquisition here. Opponent has no creatures. They kept a one-lander. Like, their hand was so greedy. Definitely keeping Unholy Heat on top. 100%. Well, yeah, this Colossus Hammer's gone. Yeah, I'm not sure that was a keep. Your only land being a Saga? I'm not sure that was the keep. They're gonna go get a 0 now, so they can go get a 0, and then they can actually Springleaf Drum the 0. So, but they can't get Colossus Hammer here, which is good for me, obviously. So we're drawing Heat. I can play second DRC. I can play second Darcy, or I can play Voidwalker, hold up Heat next turn. Also, they don't have Lurrus. Not playing Lurrus as a companion. So maybe they're playing like Nettlecyst and stuff. That's a good top deck. That is an above average top deck. Well, I'm gonna play one of these. We're gonna play one of these. That is indeed an above average top deck right there. I think I'm taking the chump here, and the reason to take the chump is that my opponent could draw the other thing. I think what I'm doing is this. Because they could draw, what's the name of the thing? The Lifelink Trample, Shadow Spear. And if they do draw the Shadow Spear, then this Memnite becomes a problem. We do have Call Against Command, we do have Terminate, so we have a bunch of ways to stop this Memnite. Inkmoth Nexus. Yeah, that's good. That's very good. So I obviously want to do this main phase, because if I do this main phase, I can kill the Memnite and they don't have mana. So we're going to... I guess I don't care about returning a creature. Do I not care about? Because if I return a creature, even if I miss my land drop next turn, I can go DRC into Inquisition into Unholy Heat. So I kind of want to do that, actually. So let's destroy the artifact and return a creature. Return a creature, destroy the artifact. How's it going, JC? We were just talking about you a little bit ago. About your challenge win. Love to see Amulet on top. So even if they have Hammer in hand, there's no way that they can actually cast it here. Oh, they're playing the version with... That's hilarious. They're playing the version that it top-8 mana traders, and it's playing like a bunch of random cards. It's pretty funny. I guess there is a world in which I die to this. Definitely love the land though. Sword of Fire and Ice, or well, they're forever away from this, so I'm just gonna take the plating. They're so far away from getting Fire and Ice active. This is... So play land and say go. But why didn't an opponent put Lurrus in hand? Oh, that's right. That is right. For ya. I could replay DRC. This is lethal next turn already. There's no way that I'm gonna play DRC here and then I can potentially just lose to, like, they top deck Hammer and I just lose to the Ink Moth, right? So just playing conservatively here. This game is pretty much locked up. Would you recommend watching your Demystifying Amulet Titan video from a few years ago to a beginner, even if the list is outdated? Yes, very much. Because I talk about a bunch of concepts that are still true today. So I talk about how extra land drops work, how they stack. Yeah, I highly recommend it. So I think I want all of those cards. I don't think I want Dothies. Croxus, Thoughtseize are probably bad. I'm gonna keep Inquisitions, but I'm probably gonna cut Thoughtseizes. Probably cut Monkeys, because they're never getting through. And maybe a Tourach. So we're slowing down. We don't have as many threats now. We have 4, 6, 9 plus Lurrus, but we have mono interaction. And my opponent doesn't have Lurrus in their deck, so I feel like we're probably going to be able to grind him fairly easily with all of this removal. How does this deck feel? I'm back on Titan as I need to gain player points after losing 500 messing around with Bruce. It happens. It happens every now and then, Clint. I don't know, like, obviously we've been getting paired against good matchups, and I feel like I've been playing fairly well today. But, like, the deck it's powerful, but my opponents haven't been answering my monkeys too much. And when your opponents don't answer your monkeys too much, every single monkey deck just looks insane, right? So maybe it's good. Maybe it's good because maybe people right now are not playing as many ways to interact with your monkey on the cheap. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, it's really hard to, like, you get a feel for a deck after a league, but it's really hard to just, like, draw, you know, solid conclusions. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like, Tourach has been really impressive this league. Tourach has looked outstanding, like, really good. Wow, we even have Sanctifier covered. Sign me up. Sign me up. No, this is red-black. This is the list that top-8 Vegas. That won Vegas, actually. Yeah, definitely keeping this hand. Don't have the best of threats, but... even against counter magic, Shattering Spree. Looking sick here. Okay. Can we top deck Alpine Moon? Can we top deck an Alpine Moon here? Am I just playing Croxa here? I think so. I think I'm limiting my opponent's options while widening mine. If I lose this game, I'm gonna be very embarrassed though. I'm gonna be very, very embarrassed if I lose this game. Cultivator's Gas are probably a 1 or 2 is my guess. Yes, I agree with that. I don't think you want more than 2. Have you brought Cultivator? Yes, I have, Jesus. We were literally just talking about it. I think it's pretty solid, but I think that people are overdoing it right now. Which is what they should do, by the way, right? I think I'm gonna EE for 0 here. Which makes it so my opponent's Saga plan is just bad. My opponent's probably gonna go find Pithing Needle. Yes, this is what we're gonna do. We're going to... My opponent's gonna definitely find Pithing Needle. So this makes the construct smaller, and then I can Shattering Spree and completely obliterate my opponent's board. I was thinking the other day that Houndward decks should be playing Keswick Wolfrun. Do you have any thoughts on that? I think that it doesn't really matter. So this gets prevented. I'm just gonna heat again. I just think that Houndward Battlements is just bad. I don't think it's good. I don't think you want it in your deck. As long as we don't die, we're going to be fine. That's some mad wisdom that I'm dropping over there. Some serious wisdom. There's no way my opponent has 2 Pithing Needles, right? It's just impossible. It's just actually impossible for my opponent to have 2 Pithing Needles. I mean, I understand why Canister loves it. I just don't agree with that. Spree for 1. Blow up E. Here we go. Am I going to continue streaming? Yes, we're going to be streaming Jund Saga after this league. They have to go with Springleaf Tron to get Memnite. Okay. Oh, that explains it. Nettle Cyst. I want to shock right there, so if my opponent doesn't draw a land, they can't actually play the Nettle Cyst. And then next turn, Lurrus just gets back explosives. GG's. We got them in the squeeze. We got them in the squeeze. The story of this game is how my opponent has not been hitting land drops, right? That's the story here. You get assist of the Nettle variety, opponent. Let me introduce you to my friend Engineered Explosives on 0. Boop. Your go. This card is messed up. Can you believe that my opponent could be playing this card in their deck and they aren't? Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy that my opponent could have access to this card in their deck and they don't? Pretty mind-blowing if you think about it. Yeah, opponent's playing the Mana Leak version. That it top-8 mana traders. Sanctifier and Beck. That's pretty good, but you know. Boop. 3, yeah. Believers, rejoice. Rejoice on your freshly won PPs. I mean, not too much to say really about the deck. It was just super smooth, this league. I've been hearing a lot of people saying that this deck is just bad, it's unplayable, and I'm just like, I mean, those are strong words, you know what I'm saying? You can only be so unplayable if you have a curve of turn 1 Monkey into turn 2 Discard Spell into turn 3 Tourach, right? Like, your deck can only be so bad if you're doing these things, you know? And sometimes it just lines up just like the way that it lined up in this entire league. It's just everything was crazy smooth. Everything was crazy smooth. Shout out to the Colligans commands. Like, this card was fantastic. I loved the Colligans command, and we used every piece of the Buffalo this league, right? Like, we made our opponents discard and it was relevant. We shocked them and it was relevant, like multiple times, just shocked them to death, which is really funny. Destroy the artifact and returning creatures. All of the modes were insanely relevant. That is why Colligans command, it is the best of this cycle and just one of the cleanest, more powerful 2-for-1s that we have access to, right? So we're going to be playing the John deck right up next to this, and I feel like this is the upside, right? Like, the fact that you play a super clean mana base, that you have, your Dens or whatever. Like, Den was actually pretty nice against the control deck, to be honest. Besides that, it was kind of medium. I didn't really use any of these lands, but I know that they do come up. But just like the fact that you can play such a clean curve, right? Like, look at this curve. Like, this is just perfect. Bunch of 1s, half of the amount of 2s, and then half the amount of 3s. Like, that is exactly what you want a curve to look like. And all of your cards are pound for pound fantastic. So I think this deck is just fine. I think this deck is good. It's not doing anything particularly impressive, but it's doing something medium very, very well. So I think that is nothing to scoff at. Like, the ability to just be doing the same thing over and over again and just being very good and executed that single game plan, even if that game plan is not just winning the game every single time, but the deck looked super smooth in this league, and the list looked very clean. And I felt like I had an out to everything, even when we were behind. We only dropped 1 game this league, but even in the situations where I was behind, I felt like I had a way to claw back into the game. you know, maybe I didn't draw it or whatever, but it feels like you have the tools. You do feel like it does feel like you do have the tools. But yeah, that's gonna be it for this league. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we get a little bit of a feel of why this deck won GP Vegas, right? Not a GP, my bad. MTG Vegas. Gotta be careful with that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll be playing the last deck of this 8 video series. So, see you in the next video.